We live. Let's get it. What's going on? What it do? What it is? What's happening? What the business be? Everybody. It's your boy Nate here with another extraordinary episode of the Extraordinary Exchange podcast. I got my co-host Benz. What's good, Benz?
Once again, it's on. We here. We here. What's going on? How y'all feeling today?
All is well. All is well. And we got another illustrious guest coming to the stage. You got the pleasure of meeting this woman's acquaintance back in the day during the pandemic. Clubhouse crew represent.
Right. Yeah.
Good
It's
times.
great. Um, and I just personally just remember, I was in the cut at work a lot of times, wasn't on stage, but just listening to the plethora of people, Benz and Just would have on the platform, and just being in awe of how amazing that community was, and Jess was specifically. Like, she's super knowledgeable, knows a lot about a lot. And, we honored to have her here. She is the CEO of the Resume Badge. She's a career strategist, helping people level up and to pivot into the tech space, plant mom, just all around dope individual. So, welcome to the community, Miss Jessica Davis. What's going on, Jeff?
Yes. Thank you for having me. And good to always connect with you guys. Always a pleasure to get with the E.I.G crew. So thank you again. Really excited for our episode today.
And one important thing you didn't put in the bio is um one thing I've observed from Jess from that clubhouse time to now, how she grows and builds her brand. Um a lot of people, something people struggle with in this modern era of branding. You just talked about your podcast and different things, and the way you're able to move in different circles.
Yeah.
It still keep yourself branded, because like this our clubhouse crew was a small crew, but then you were known in several different of those clubhouse crews, and even over the point in time of since then, just different communities that you build with. It's dope. So that's something that's not in your bio, but it's something that needs to be saluted as well. Just how you know how to build and market yourself and your brand, and I appreciate it. Keep building, keep working.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Community building is definitely something I have as a strength and I'm passionate about. I like to get to know people and understand different types of people, as well as like their needs and how I can support and add value. So definitely something that I really take pride in, and I take seriously.
For sure. Because it'd be oh, Jess is over here with us with the regular black folks. Now she's over here with the Caribbean folks. I'm not with the white folks over there. Like, Jess be moving and still talking her same, like being herself. So it's a
Right.
beautiful thing. It's
And
a
that's
beautiful
the
thing.
key. I don't switch up.
Nah,
The me that you see here is the me that you see over there at my mama's house, is the me that you see over there in a board meeting. Okay. So I always stay true to myself. I've been the same person my whole life. And my mom sometimes she'd be like, "Why don't you change?" And I'm like, "No, I'm okay."
Uh,
for sure.
pulling up, being a vendor at our event. Matter of fact, you've seen us from original, our first
Yeah,
EIG.
I was
She,
I
she
was
was a
here in
Wawa.
stomping grounds,
Sure,
exactly.
sure. So yeah, truly a day one. So yeah, give everybody like a quick background of who you are and what it is that you does.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Jessica Davis. I'm a career strategist. Um, During the day, I actually just wrapped up some things at work. I work for an analytics and consulting firm, so I am pretty hands-on with some of the major Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 1000 companies, and I support them with like building strategy, as well as like just being able to build out their next steps and their plans along their corporate journeys. And then, that's my 9 to 5. And then from 5 to 9, I'm working on Resume Badge. So I'm doing resumes, I'm supporting people with accessing resources for their next step in their career, building out LinkedIn, helping people prepare for interviews, creating content, and building relationships. So, pretty busy around the clock, I will say. And I also have a son. I have a 7-year-old. So, that is also another way my hands are full. So at any given point in time, you'll catch me doing something. So that's me in a nutshell.
Busy, productive. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Mhm.
So Resume badge. What kind of inspired you to start that, do that, and what are the resources that you provide?
Yeah, so Resume Badge officially was started in late 2019, early 2020. And so I started building that out because I've always been that friend. I know you all have that one friend that keep a job. Okay? That's me. I've always been able to get great jobs and package myself in a way where people just, want to present opportunities to me. And my friends always were coming to me to help them with their resumes, help them to, build out their LinkedIn, prepare for interviews, and just really know what to say to get their foot in the door, whether in the corporate world, tech space, or just even if they were, had like a business meeting or a funding meeting or something like that. I'm great at things like presentations. I'm great at being able to create corporate strategies. That's why I work in the space that I do from my 9 to 5. I'm also really good at just like helping people to understand what it is that these organizations or these business companies are looking for, or if there's like a funding opportunity, just being able to really read between the lines to help people identify what it is that these organizations are asking for so they can get to that bag. So I took that as a sign during the pandemic, when a lot of people were getting laid off. A lot of people were just really in a bind to really build out something long term where I can continue to support people, and not just by like the individuals that I work with on like their career strategy, but just building communities where I can support people on a large scale in general. So I have a couple different ways that I support people outside of like working in individuals. I have like people that are my subscribers that we have small group meetings or team meetings on a monthly basis where I connect with them and find out what it is their career goals are. I also have a community on Twitter with about 11,000 people. I have a Discord group with about 2,000 people, and just being able to not only work with people on a small scale, but also be able to work with large groups of people at the same time as well is something that I have really been fostering and growing over the last couple of years.
Wow. So there's a lot of people that do resumes.
Mhm.
Um, that continuous interaction post resume with people in Discord and with your, what does that look like? Like what are you doing at that point? So you helped me with my resume. I've gotten my good Google job. What am I doing after that continuously? How are you still continuing to help me if I was to subscribe to a service like that?
Yeah, so I help people with just like the continuation of that process. So if you are in my Discord, there's different channels. So if you're interested in like analytics, if you're interested in being a software engineer, if you're interested in whatever, there's like different sub channels in the groups where I post resources. So I have like different strategic folders that I offer to people that are in my groups where they can learn different parts of the field. So if you're interested in like data analytics, like within that, you'll be able to learn like I have resources for Python, I have resources for Power BI and things that you can do
Mhm.
to continue your learning and
Mm,
continue along the journey. And then also within that group, there's like people in the community that support each other, that I'm not only the one sharing resources, they're sharing resources too. And they're building partnerships amongst each other within the community. So I'm not alone in just like trying to support thousands and thousands of people by myself. The people that are in the groups, they find value in the groups as well, and they find value in supporting other people. So we all continue to build and grow together. So I also do sessions where we just talk about like how to partner with people within your organization. We talk about some challenges that you might face on the job and how to overcome that. We talk about things like if you're looking for your next opportunity, how to negotiate your salary, how to negotiate your next promotion. So it's not just like getting you in the door, but it's also part of keeping you there.
mm, I like that.
Value on value on value. You hear that?
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you.
So we're kind of briefly talking about branding, you branding yourself, as a entity, as a corporation.
Mhm.
But talk about some of the things that people can do to brand themselves in the workspace as they're trying to elevate up the corporate ladder. Talk about the importance of that, because it sounds like that you're providing value in that space as well.
Yes, absolutely. So I think one of the most important things that people can do is not only build a brand for yourself outside of your 9 to 5, but a lot of people don't realize that when you're in the workplace, you have a brand. You have a brand within your organization that people will know you for as this person that is of this character, or this person that this is their strength. If I need help with this particular category or this particular issue, this is my go-to person. So it is important that when you get your foot in the door on day one, you start to kind of figure out what it is that your strengths are within that organization, so you can start building that brand. I know what within my organization, there's like a particular set of things that people will come to me for. And if they have questions on how to execute X, Y, and Z, I can provide them with a number of steps, a number of resources on how I've been able to successfully do the things that I do on the job. And I think it's important for everybody to do that, because that's what's going to keep you there long term. Don't just show up and get a paycheck and leave. Let these organizations see that you have value as well, because if they don't see the value in you outside of this is what you do and you clock out and leave, then by the time, every organization right now is pretty much in cost cutting mode. So by the time it comes around and there's a round of layoffs, they don't know what value you bring. So you'll be one of the first people that they try to get out of there. But if you can clearly articulate and demonstrate what your strengths are and how you've been able to show progress and how you've been able to help the organization grow, but not only help the organization grow, but help your peers grow as well, help your managers, help your leaders grow, those are the people that if there does come a time where it's like somebody got to get the snip, it's not going to be you, because you're going to have people that are going to advocate for you on your behalf to keep you there, because they can clearly see this is the value that you bring. And you should also always, always, always keep a record for yourself as well on the back end that shows this is what I've been able to accomplish over X, Y, and Z period of time.
So you were talking
Yeah.
but see, here's the thing though, is that even there are some folks that, like you said, right now it's a time where everybody's cutting back, especially in these jobs which you're speaking of, these tech jobs that overhired a couple
Yes.
years ago.
Mhm.
So if you are a person, excellent employee who's done everything you can and built that brand in the workplace,
Mhm.
and you still get laid off, but you have that highly skilled background. I know it's people out there right now that are going through that.
Mhm.
What do you do? What are they? What should they do? How can they rebuild their personal brand to find that next opportunity?
Yeah, so I believe that growth and learning should be continuous. So if you are somebody that's still actively within your organization, share some of the work that you're doing publicly. Build in public is something that is very
Mhm.
common within the tech space, but I think that everyone should be building in public, not just if you're working on, building out systems or something like that. Everyone should be able to clearly articulate what their strengths are. That's why I always advocate for people to use tools like LinkedIn, which is one of the largest professional networking platform in the world. There's almost 1 billion people on LinkedIn. So if you are somebody that's actively engaging on there, actively speaking about some of the things that you've learned, some of the things that you've been able to accomplish, by the time it comes around to where there is a layoff or something like that, you'll be able to show recruiters, hiring managers, this is what I've been doing over this period of time. And it's never too late to start. So let's say you are somebody that did get laid off, start rebuilding, start learning some things, discussing what it is that you're learning, creating some content around that. One thing a lot of people don't realize is that your reach on LinkedIn is literally 9 times greater than it is on any other platform, because there's only about 3% of people on LinkedIn that are posting
Mhm.
and creating content consistently. So the chances of you becoming a thought leader in the one particular sector that you're good at is very high, because somebody out there, of those almost 1 billion people, literally last time I checked, there was about 900 million people active on that platform. Somebody is going to identify with what you're talking about, and very quickly you'll start to see people connect with you, people reach out to you, even recruiters and hiring managers. And also, keep your platform fresh, keep your information updated, so that when you are in a space where you're looking for your next opportunity, you'll be discoverable. People will be it'll be easy to find you. And make sure that you're updating that experience section. They have so many different sections where you can articulate what it is that you're doing. Make sure that you are placing those keywords that are related to your industry within your experience section, within your project section. So in the event that someone is looking to fill a role and you happen to be a good match, you'll show up at the top of that algorithm, and you'll be able to be one of those people that get called for an interview or whatever the next step in the process.
Yeah, as I hear you talking, it reminds me of a mantra people always said as we were coming up. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and
Mm-hmm.
also who knows you. It
Yes.
reminds me of like on NFL Hard Knocks. A lot of the coaches, they always talk about, hey, you're not just interviewing for us. You playing for all the other NFL teams right now that are watching. You know what I'm saying? You got tape, and you know what I'm saying, your reputation is going to precede you, not just within these four walls in this building, but with the other teams as well. So talk about like networking, you know, the power of networking, not burning bridges, making sure you establish that value. You know, you kind of talked about a term I've never heard. I'm not really in the tech space, but building in public. I'm gonna start using that. That's dope.
Yeah.
And real quick, I want to highlight before you go past, important gem she dropped, because the percentage of people who actively post on LinkedIn
Mhm.
is less, your posts are more easily accessible and seen. That's
Facts.
a very important gem to remember when we're talking about this, because um we all love to post on Instagram, love to tweet, X, whatever you're using now, but the LinkedIn, you just make a LinkedIn and leave it there. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody does that. But if everybody's doing that, the people
Right.
that post are going to get their posts seen. So that's a very important gem you drop right there. I want everybody to soak that in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That visibility piece is so important, because again, like on Instagram, you're competing with everyone else, everyone that has a service, that has a product, everyone that's trying to be an influencer. Whereas LinkedIn, people just are just excited about what they're doing professionally, excited about what they're doing. You know, if they're a startup founder or something like that, they just are really excited to share with you. And people on LinkedIn are so eager to also consume, which is rare. It's not like that on some of these other platforms. People doom scroll on Instagram and TikTok all day long, whereas on LinkedIn, people will actually sit there and read what you're talking about, because they know it's a place where they can learn and they want to learn too. But going back to your question, Nate, on the networking piece, that is extremely important, especially in this job market, especially in these times. Like you said, it's not what you know matters too, but
For sure. For
a
sure.
lot of that, being able to highlight that, also goes into who you know. And so that networking piece is crucial in this time, because a lot of people are competing for the same roles, competing for the same opportunities. So if you are able to kind of get yourself directly in front of, let's say, a recruiter or a hiring manager, you are going to have a better chance than those people who just submitted their application on the company's website, because sometimes for one role, you'll have thousands of people applying. So your application, that's why I don't know if anyone has ever experienced this. Sometimes you'll apply to a job, and 20 minutes later you get a rejection, and it's like, did someone even look at my application? And it's like,
Mm.
no, they didn't. They'll put your application through an applicant tracking system, and it's basically AI. And if you are not hitting those keywords that they're looking for in that in that machine, you're not going to get a call. You're going to get an automated rejection, and no one is ever going to even know that you applied, because no one saw it. Whereas sometimes if you go on LinkedIn, there's a thing that you can do where you can run a Boolean search on there. So you can directly search for who's hiring for what role who's looking to fund what project. You can set up your search on the platform in a certain way where your feed will show this person is hiring for this specific role. And what you can do in a situation like that, you reach out to those people directly yourself. If you see somebody is hiring for X, Y, and Z role and they posted this 5 minutes ago, 10 hours ago, you reach out to that person. You slide in their DMs on LinkedIn and you let them know, hey, I'm interested in this opportunity. I saw that you were looking for X, Y, and Z. Here are my credentials, or here's my resume, or here's a portfolio that I have. Here's a GitHub that I have. Here's a project that I built. Here's a website that I built. And you show them. You get to that front of the pile by cutting that line, by reaching out to those people directly. So that's definitely a very powerful way to kind of get to that front of the line. But also, in addition to be able to do that, one thing too, because sometimes they may not be hiring right away, or maybe they already filled the role. You don't want to burn that bridge. It's good to just kind of set up time with people. You can create coffee chats and meetings and start to build relationships with the people that you want to get in front of. You build partnerships. I've slid into many people's DMs on LinkedIn and have been able to set up coffee chats and build friendships and been able to really articulate, this is what I can do. And you let them know what you can do for them as well. You know, don't make it just all about, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? How are you able to support them? If they're not hiring for X, Y, and Z role, but they're hiring for this role, and you have a friend that's looking for this role, can you bring them to this person so they can, you know, get that person on board? And next time they have a role or something or an opportunity that's more aligned with what you do, you'll be top of mind. So building relationships, but also maintaining those relationships is kind of super important.
You said a couple of times something that a key word, like you kept saying, keywords. You said give the phrase keywords. So I'm assuming that's important, writing your resume. So how would one find those keywords for that specific industry, for that specific position that they're trying to apply for?
So best way to find keywords that are relevant within your industry, within your role, is by looking at the job description. Look at that job description, and don't just look at one job description, look at a couple different ones. I always tell people when it's time for me to work on their resumes or work on their LinkedIn, bring me 3 to 4 jobs that you would be interested in applying in, because typically that's what I build off their future resume or their future LinkedIn profile off of. Because what you will then start to see is there'll be the same reoccurring terms, the same reoccurring requirements. So like if you're looking for let's say a role and it's a very technical role, typically they'll ask you for the same tech stack, or they'll ask you for the same certificates. They'll ask you for the same set of skills. So those are the keywords that you kind of pull out, and then you build those into your job description. I'm sorry, into your resume. Because when you're applying for these jobs, you like I said, there's a tool called the applicant tracking system that most companies use. There's a couple different ones. There's like Workday. There's a couple different ones that you'll see when you apply. You'll have to either put your resume or your application through these systems on the job website. What they're doing is they're using AI to kind of pull those keywords out, and they're going to give you a score. They're going to rank you based on how aligned you are to the job description. So if you're just like talking about skills on your resume that have nothing to do with the role, have nothing to do with the job description, most likely your ranking is not going to be as high as someone else who took the time to look at the job description and see exactly what they're looking for, what's the tech stack they're looking for, what are the specific skills they're looking for, because those are the people that are going to be matching and that are going to show up at the top of the ranking, and they're the ones that are going to be receiving that email or that phone call for an interview.
Yeah, this reminds me of that conversation we had, Benz, with Dr. Davis, talking about government contracting, how a lot of times people get in these rooms and they try to, sound super smart, and they throwing, they communicate to them how they think they would want them to communicate to them, as opposed to communicating exactly what's on the announcement for the job or whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah,
if they're
that's
telling you what they're looking for, that's because
right
that's what
there.
they're looking for.
Right there in plain sight, for sure, for sure. So you're giving some great tips on what to do. I think knowing what not to do is just as important as well. Just kind of like we were talking about in the communicating. Um, what are some common mistakes you see a lot of people do to shoot themselves in the foot and not put themselves in the right position to, advance in their career and get those, jobs that they're trying to acquire?
There's a couple things that I see that are pretty reoccurring. Like I said, not giving them what they're asking for, so not aligning yourself to what the role is actually looking for. Don't assume that they will tell you what they're
Right.
looking for. And that's not to say if you are not a 100% match that you shouldn't apply. That's not true at all. That's also a common mistake. People think that, oh, I don't meet every single requirement that they're asking for, so I'm not going to apply. And that's just not the case, because I always say if you meet anywhere from 60 to 80 or above percent of what they're looking for in the job description, go ahead and apply anyway, because 9 times out of 10, there were 100 other people that saw all of those requirements and didn't apply because it scared them off. So you never know, how much of a qualified candidate you are until you apply. Other things not to do: don't harass the recruiters or hiring managers. There are times where people will get really excited. They'll see something that they are a good fit for, they are a great candidate, and they will reach out to the recruiter or the hiring manager over and over and over and over again. And they're people just like us. They're going to get annoyed, and they're going to, sometimes they'll block you, they'll ghost you. So you want to make sure that you give them a little bit of patience, give them a little bit of grace. If they say that they're going to get back to you, give them some time to get back to you. And let me see what else not to do. I would say also don't apply to something that you have no business applying for. There are times where people get into a position where they're just so like desperate for a job that they know good and well that if they get into that role, they're not going to know what to do. It's best to just find something that you are a good fit for, as opposed to something that that you get on this job and you're going to struggle, because it's worse if you get in a role and then 2 months later, 3 months later, you're getting let go, because not only are they going to give you a bad review, it's going to be harder for you to get your next opportunity. If your next opportunity calls your last job and they're like, how did this person do? And your last job is like, oh, they had no business being here, they didn't know what they were doing, then that's not a good look either. And that's going to make that kind of a uphill battle for you. It's just going to make it a lot more difficult. So make sure that you properly position yourself in a way where you are comfortable and can have opportunities to learn on the job. Like I said, you don't have to be 100% matched. You want to still be able to have a role, get into a role where you can grow, you can learn, but also don't shoot yourself in the foot by going somewhere or going with an opportunity that would be better fit for someone else.
Cool, cool. When you ask that question, Nate, that made me start thinking of career mistakes that I feel like I see. So in our community, um, shout out to Black women out there. Considered statistically one of the most educated groups in the country right now, as far as amount of degrees that they have.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, a lot of these women I know and love have 2 or 3 degrees and still upset with their current job they're at. Probably overqualified for what they're really doing based on that education that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's actually an issue in our community, because there's a lot of people that you have the qualifications to do something great, but for whatever reason you're stuck here teaching, as you said, for example, got 2 or 3
Right.
great degrees, but you're unfulfilled in your so do you have any advice for those who feel like they're qualified for a different career that they've done? So you said not applying for jobs that you're not qualified for, but some of us are qualified for stuff and just don't feel comfortable, feel safe in applying in that career change. to
Mm-hmm.
really go after what you can do. Is there any type of advice for that of trying to find something if you're at a stage where you want to try a brand new opportunity in life, how to find that you qualify for? You know what I mean? But it's not open and clear to you what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. And I actually had shared something about this on Twitter about 2 weeks ago. I read an article that was actually shared to me by one of my colleagues at work who's also a Black woman. There is a woman named Felicia Butterfield Jones, and she did an interview with Yahoo News. Um, and basically, what that article was about was taking moonshots in your career. So, what that means is exactly what you were discussing, Ben. Take that leap. Don't let fear or doubt or, not being sure if you're going to get that promotion, or not being sure if you're going to get that next opportunity keep you stagnant. A lot of people, like you said, especially in our community, we're scared to take those next steps. We're scared to take those leaps. And sometimes you have to have the audacity. Okay, have the audacity. Me, I have a lot of audacity. I'm gonna go for it. Okay, I'm gonna get what's mine. I'm going to get what's mine. So I encourage everyone to take those leaps. Don't stay stale. Don't stay stagnant. Ask for that promotion. If they're not going to promote you, go somewhere that is going to see your value, that is going to give you what you deserve, what you're looking for, and don't be afraid to negotiate. Do your research as well. One thing I noticed, I don't know if you guys saw that article that came out this week or last week about Google and how Black people, African Americans at Google were paid 20% less than
Mm-hmm.
everyone else, than any other demographic at Google.
That's
20%
wild.
less. And the overall feedback that was being given was that Black people are not negotiating. So they're taking that as
Happy to
an
be here.
opportunity to underpay us, as an opportunity to not provide us with bonuses because we're not asking for them. But at the same time, as much as they should be able to value us, how when you are a business or something and you get that valuation, they're not giving us the appropriate valuation. So you have to go and get those comps yourself so you can get that valuation. Do your research, find out what is standard for your role, what other companies are paying, what other companies are compensating people. And when you come to that negotiation table, you come with that information. And I always recommend asking for a little more as well. Ask for your worth, then add tax, because
Mhm.
they're going to meet you somewhere in the middle. But if you're
Mm.
not asking, then chances are they're not going to give you what you deserve, because at the end of the day, these are corporations. So they're going to do what they have to do to save money. Even when people are getting new jobs, they're going to, in that negotiation piece, if you're not asking for additional compensation, whether in the form of salary or stock options or other perks and bonuses that they have, they're not going to give it to you, because they're going to reallocate that somewhere else. Like I said, these companies are focused on cost optimization right now. So if they can cut costs by not paying you your worth, they will. So know exactly what your worth is and then add tax.
Cool.
Bars,
Cool.
bars
Cool.
on
Cool.
bars. I love that. Ask for what you worth plus tax. And like you said, closed mouth don't get fed. We've been hearing that for years. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So just having the audacity to step out there and do it, you setting yourself apart from so many people just for going after it. So
Mm-hmm.
that
There's
matters.
a there's a statistic out there about how, like, over the course of a career, you're if you're not negotiating, you're actually missing out on millions of dollars in
Mm.
compensation.
Yeah.
So every year, that you don't ask for your worth, somebody else is. And promotions a lot of times are built off of percentages. So if you're already starting out very low even if you get a 10% promotion or a 10% raise, 4% raise, whatever it is, if you're not negotiating that, the person that is, by the end of your career, they will have made millions of dollars more than you.
But that's a fact though. Like, and the percentage thing, because as everything else we know, percentages add up over time. So
Mm-hmm.
3, 4, 5% year over year compounds and adds up. So that's a good point.
Exactly.
One other thing you said though that we were talking about pre-production, moving. Um, Another thing is those opportunities may not be in your neighborhood. It may not be in your city. You may have to get up and leave and go to a different state, different country. Nowadays, it's hybrid work, so you might have to be in another city for a couple of days a month. So we all there's a lot of ways for those. If you're really looking for those opportunities and looking for those moonshots, you might have to really expand your horizons to push that career forward. If you really take the sacrifice.
Yes, take me as an example. I moved to Texas this past year. I'm a little over a year now as a Texan. I actually just converted my license over to Texas like last month because I've been just super busy. And I moved here for opportunity. I moved here for a job because I felt that where I was in the previous location I was very stagnant in my career, and I didn't see any opportunity for growth at the company that I was in. So what I did, I started, packaging myself on LinkedIn and adding information to my profile related to the opportunity that I wanted next. So as soon as I did that, within a couple weeks, a recruiter reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I saw your profile. You have a great background, great skill set, have this opportunity for you. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And they said that it was a remote opportunity. However, it will require that I move. So I moved actually from Massachusetts to Texas for this opportunity. And I was getting tired of Massachusetts anyway. I had just gotten into a car accident in the snowstorm. And I was just like, "Oh, you want me to move to somewhere where it's sunny and I get
Right.
more money and I get to work from home?" Absolutely. I'm out. So don't be afraid to take those leaps. If the opportunity comes and they present a package that you cannot refuse, and you have the ability to be able to, and the flexibility to be able to move, do it, because a lot of times these companies will pay for you to move as well. I didn't pay for this move, they did. So, and that was another thing that I asked for. I negotiated it. So there are a number of things you can negotiate. You can negotiate parental leave. You can negotiate like stock options. You can negotiate relocation. You can negotiate so many different things. And that just happened to be one of those things that I was able to negotiate. They 100% paid for me to move here, and then some. So I was able to start my life as a
There we go.
Texan.
That's super dope. That's super dope. All right, so we're an entrepreneurial podcast. We're gonna pivot just a little bit and talk the strategist side of your business, not the strategy side of resume building and career advancement. So, as a career strategist, how do you attract clients? The clients that you hope to help within these communities, within your Discord, within your your sphere of influence. How are you building that ecosystem?
Great question. So it's a number of things. First, I get a lot of word of mouth clients. So people that have utilized my business, utilized my service in the past, they often refer me to their friends, refer me to their family. I work with a lot of people that are referrals, but also I am pretty visible. I am on these social media streets. I create content. I also post a lot of different opportunities that I find for the public as well. So I'll connect with like a recruiter or a hiring manager that I know is looking to fill an opportunity. And then that's another way that I'm able to not only add value to job seekers, but I'm also able to add value to some of these recruiters, because at the end of the day, it's their job to find people. They have quotas that they need to fill. So if I'm able to kind of be a bridge in building that connection between the job seeker and the recruiter or the company that's looking to find someone, then it's like a match made in career heaven. So I really enjoy that process, just doing that. I also do things like Twitter Spaces. I create content on like YouTube. I post on Instagram. So there's a number of ways that people find me. And then also my website, resumebadge.com. Make sure you guys check that out. You know, you can, it's visible on Google, it's searchable. So a lot of times when people are looking for resume support or resume guidance, I'll populate and people find me that way. So I don't really do anything extra. I don't do any ads. I don't do anything where I had to come out of pocket because I'd rather reallocate that towards other things like, you know, buying some technology for my business so I can create better content. Like right now, I need a new computer. So I would rather take money that I would have spent on ads or something like that to just continue to grow and build the brand. But yeah, for the most part, word of mouth, the internet, social media, and just remaining visible, remaining accessible.
You talked about your website a couple of times. What are some of those resources that you have there on your website for people?
Yeah, so I have a couple things on my website. There are some free resources. So I have like a LinkedIn checklist, a resume toolkit that you can access. I also have an ebook for job seekers. It's a job seekers guide that I created myself with just research and knowledge that I've accumulated over the last couple years. And it's really just like a step by step guide on like how to land that next opportunity. And then I also have my services on my website. So you'll be able to book some time with me to do a resume review, a LinkedIn review, to walk through maybe some interview opportunities that you have. I do resume and interview coaching. So if anyone needs to like practice for their interviews or, you know, learn how to articulate their skills the best way in an interview so they can get that offer, I do that. And then I also have done for you services. So if you don't just want to hear me talk about it, I do have a service where I will do the LinkedIn, I will do the resume from scratch for you.
And is that for, and I guess LinkedIn more so, is that for individuals or will you do also work with businesses as well to build their social media and LinkedIn and presence?
Yes, I work with businesses as well. I also work with brands. I work with creators. So I've worked with a lot of like influencers and content creators. I've worked with a number of startups. I've worked with a number of established companies as well. I've even worked with some celebrities and some rappers. Can't give the names, but I've worked with like some athletes. I've worked with a couple different NFL players that, you know, are going into leaving the league and going into the next step in their career. So yeah, I don't just work with individual job seekers or people that are looking to pivot into tech. Like I said, it is a professional networking platform. So it's not just for job seekers, it's for anyone that wants to create a professional brand.
Love it.
EIG been slipping. EIG should have been tapped in with a
Oh
resume, bro.
yeah, I'm gonna
That's
need
why.
y'all to get a
That's why I asked the
LinkedIn.
question.
We
When you're
work so
ready,
well
give me a
together, bro.
call.
It's coming. The call's coming. Like,
Okay, good.
while we're on that conversation, for one of our businesses, our EBS business, our processing business, we had to start a LinkedIn for communication with somebody else,
Yeah.
and we never followed up and built it properly. So 100% is something I've just been looking at the past 2 or 3 weeks. So we're gonna definitely get with you on that because it's a service that every business needs. Um, it is not, and we're not necessarily looking to hire people, but it's more so
Mhm.
that presence for business to business because a communication was something that the client asked for. So that's what we had.
Absolutely.
So we had to build it. So it's something that we learned ourselves. So it's
Yeah,
definitely
what a
a
lot of
service.
people don't realize is LinkedIn is literally not just for people looking for a job or looking to hire. They have a whole section where you can add your services, you can add your products, you can add your external links and websites, anything that you want to share with the world, you'll be able to kind of build off of that on there.
It's been a powerful conversation right here. It's been
It
dope.
I'm
is.
really happy that you guys decided to have me on. It's always been just an honorable thing that you guys are doing for the community. I always just love the work that EIG has been doing. So I'm honored.
We appreciate you. So what I would say is We talked about your website. What are some other ways people can get in contact with you and tap in with you and get to your resources?
Yes. So outside of my website, you can find me on social media. I have two different profiles. So as far as career only, I have Resume Badge on Instagram. So it's at Resume Badge on Instagram, on Twitter. And then on LinkedIn, you can find me linkedin.com/in. And under Resume Badge as well is the backslash. I also have a Resume Badge page, but you can also find me at Worldwide Jess with a zero. So W0 and then Worldwide Jess. And on my Worldwide Jess Twitter, that's where you'll be able to find. I post jobs there daily, so you'll find different opportunities. I also have a community on Twitter, or excuse me, X.com now, since they've decided to rebrand. There's about 11,000 people, over 11,000 people in that community. And it's just a public network, public space that I wanted to create to, again, continue that work of matching job seekers with recruiters and hiring managers. So I'm not the only one posting in there. There are a ton of recruiters that are posting opportunities day after day, as well as people that are sharing projects that they would like to collaborate with other people on there. So that community is called Career Fireside. So definitely feel free to check that out. And my podcast that I will be relaunching soon is also called Career Fireside, where host career conversations with people that are making leaps and bounds in their careers, as well as and it's not just like jobs in tech. Like I said, I work with people across a variety of careers, people in healthcare, people that are in finance and business and all types of things. So definitely check me out.
Dope.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So what as we close out, you talked about all the resources and value that you're providing to the world. Can you give us a little glimpse into what's next for Jessica Davis and Resume Badge? Like what you got, what else you got that might be on the horizon that we, might not know about?
Yeah, so what's next? Like I said, looking to relaunch my podcast over the next month. So there is a form on there if anybody's interested in being a guest on my podcast. Go over to resumebadge.com, fill out that podcast intake form, and someone will get back to you soon. But also, if anyone's looking for their next opportunity, feel free to reach out to me. I can hop on a call with you, be able to give you some coaching and guidance there. Or if anyone's looking for their next resume or their next LinkedIn profile development, check me out. And I will be continuing to create some content. So I have some new things coming down the pipeline on my YouTube channel. So feel free to check that out as well.
Before I close the business today, we'll go ahead and fill that out. We'll definitely jump on and be good for sure.
I love it. Thank you.
Are we gonna do a pod for a pod?
Yeah, let's do it. I would love to.
We've never done that. We've never done the pay for play consultation.
I would love
Naturally, we in there like swimwear. Let's get it.
Okay, good. Pod for pod. I like that.
Great idea. Let's make it happen.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you for coming out and spending your time with us tonight, sharing this great information. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. It was my
always
pleasure.
love, Jess. It's always been love, Jess. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, with that being said, we'll go ahead and close it out. Y'all tap in with Jess and, me and Ben's, we 2 of 12 Black men, part of Extraordinary Investment Group that are in the community, building a legacy through education and smart financial strategies. And this strategy right here, giving the people what they need as far as career development has been invaluable. So, yeah, Jess, we appreciate you. And, we'll holler at y'all in the next episode of the pod.
And like I said, there's a lot of people I know and love out there who's sitting on 2 and 3 degrees who are upset with their job right now. Tap in with Jess. Take that moonshot. What you wasting? What you waiting?
Take those moonshots.
Take your moonshot. Have a good night.
Good night. Thank you.